Welcome back to SportsLine, everybody. It's the night almost that football fans have been waiting for, the off-season Super Bowl, the NFL Draft, night one tomorrow in Las Vegas. Of course, round one tomorrow, rounds 2 and 3 Friday night, and then the rest 4 through 7 on Saturday. And what will the Tennessee Titans do? Right now, they sit at the number 26 overall pick. Well, we check in with our good buddy from the Tennessean who covers the Titans. He's the beat writer there. The great Ben Arthur joins us from somewhere in Middle Tennessee. Ben, good evening. Thanks for joining us, man.
JB, thanks for having me. It's good to be here with you.
Well, I owe you an apology, Ben, because this was long overdue. You've been the Titans beat writer for a whole season. We haven't had you on the Wednesday extravaganza, so I apologize for that. Please charge it to my head and not my heart. I want to, first of all, congratulate you on a great job all season covering the Titans for the Tennessean. Not an easy task. You came all the way from, I believe, Seattle, where you covered the Seattle Seahawks, and then, you kind of got thrown into the fire, and you realized what, covering Mike Vrabel can be like for a whole season. So congratulations to you. You did a great job. For our viewers and listeners that may not know a whole lot about you, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, for sure, JB. So, obviously I've been at the Tennessean for some time now, a year now, covering the Titans. But as you mentioned before that, I was covering the Seattle Seahawks for 2.5 seasons, from the 2018 through the 2020 season. Seattle is also where I'm from, so it was very cool to cover the team in my backyard. And so 2018 really started my career covering the NFL. Before that, did kind of what a lot of sports reporters seem to do, kind of do it all guy, actually in Texas, where I cover preps and all kinds of things. But, the NFL space is a lot of fun, and these Titans are a lot of fun. It was quite the season they had this past year, despite the divisional round loss to the Bengals. So excited to see, like many of us, what they'll do in this 2022 NFL Draft.
Yeah, it's great to have you here, and that's where we position ourselves, the 2022 NFL Draft. All right, obviously, it seems the needs or the preferences for the Titans appear to be pretty obvious. Offensive line, they need some help there. Wide receiver, they could use some help. A young developing tight end, or a young tight end that they could develop would be nice as well. Where they sit right now at 26, how well positioned do you think they will be to get some of the positions of need that seem to be, facing them heading into this offseason?
Yeah, I think if you look at the best tackles in the draft, the Titans are maybe out of position for a lot of those guys based on projections from the top draft evaluators. But I think in a deep wide receiver class, they're well positioned there. And then I think you also have to look at the guards. I know that the guards have been, I think, a popular mock to the Titans at 26. Personally, I've been one of the people mocking Kenyon Green in particular from Texas A&M. Also Zion Johnson from Boston College, another guard with ties to Mike Vrabel, just because he was roommates with Tyler Vrabel, Mike's son at Boston College, and that obviously fills a need. So I think with where the Titans are positioned, wide receiver and guard seem to be the most likely. I think with the quarterbacks, it's kind of hard to say. I think a lot of people, I think the consensus seems to be that this is a weaker quarterback class. But hey, man, if when a team needs a quarterback, it doesn't matter what the perception is. I think teams will try and move up for those guys and trade up for those guys. So I'd say the top guy, a lot of people think the Titans might go quarterback, but I think with where the Titans are at 26 and with the history of drafting with top quarterbacks, I think the Titans could kind of be out of that range. So again, I'd say kind of wide receiver and guard are most likely, and then really there's only one tight end I think who could be at play for the Titans at 26, and that would be Trey McBride, the standout over from Colorado State. So those would probably be the three positions I'd look at, but more specifically wide receiver and guard.
Yeah, it's an interesting draft this year, isn't it? You mentioned the quarterbacks and the fact that there's not that clear-cut, Andrew Luck or Trevor Lawrence, #1 guy. Also, the fact that there really isn't a clear-cut #1 overall pick. Some say Aiden Hutchinson, some say Kayvon Thibodeau. There are a lot of different scenarios going around. This is one of the more interesting drafts we've seen in a while, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. I think Aiden Hutchinson seemed to be really the guy for a lot of people. Up until like the past several days, I've seen maybe it's going to be Trayvon Walker. And then really after maybe one, that there's the most certainty there with Hutchinson. But even as I said recently, it seems to kind of have changed a bit. And then really from two up, through the rest of the first round, I don't think anyone really knows what's going to happen. Is someone going to try and make a play for like a Malik Willis, like jump up to 2? I think the Texans are interesting at 3 because they might look to trade back. The Panthers, what are they going to do? People say they're going to go quarterback, but I think they only have one pick in the top 140, so they might look to trade back. If they trade back, who tries to slide in there? The Falcons are another interesting team at 8. So, man, I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't think anyone can really predict what's going to happen. I think #1 is there's the most certainty there, probably Hutchinson. To a lesser degree, Trayvon Walker. But then outside of that, I don't think we can really pencil in anything for sure in this draft.
Yeah, there's no question about it. We're talking with Ben Arthur. He's the Titans beat writer for the Tennessean. And, you look at, where some of these positions are in this draft. You mentioned it, the possibility of the Titans trading out of 26 maybe to get more draft picks, because as of now, they don't have a second-round draft pick. How possible do you think that is? We've seen John Robinson over the years be pretty aggressive. He's moved up to get guys. He's traded back when he felt the need. I mean, how realistic do you think the possibility could be of J-Rob trading out of that 26 spot and trying to get more picks?
Yeah, I think he would like to move back, as you mentioned, because they don't have a second-round pick from that Julio Jones trade. That failed Julio Jones trade from last year. They're drafting they have the 26th pick, and then they don't have another selection until 90. So if you ask me, I think they would look, J-Rob would look to try and trade back, get another top 100 pick if they can. I think with where the Titans are at now as a franchise, a consistent winner in the AFC contention, it seems, every year, but unable to get over the hump. They need as many high-impact players at the top of the draft that they can get. And with just the 26th pick and then the 90th pick, just the margin for error is so small there. I think if J-Rob can kind of find that trade partner, maybe slide back to the end of the first round, maybe in the 30s, like between 30 and 32, or early in the second round, maybe get a late 2 or an early 3 or whatever, just in addition to that top pick. I think the Titans would be well positioned to just add those high impact players that this team needs.
Yeah, Ben, I, like you, have mocked Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M to the Titans at 26, assuming they stay there. I like his versatility. What do you like about Kenyon Green?
Yeah, versatility, as you said. He's probably the most versatile offensive lineman in this draft. Started at 4 different spots for the Aggies. I saw 80-plus snaps at
All right, we appear to be having some Zoom issues with Ben Arthur. It's too bad. He was making a really good point about Kenyon Green. He and I both mocking him to the Titans at 26, assuming they stay there. Why don't we do this? We'll take a break, see if we can get Ben Arthur hooked back up, and have more of our conversation with him on the eve of the NFL draft. Stay with us here on SportsLine.